I don't know if Kia has a special socket for this or not, but we do now. Well, hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Automotive Insight. Today we've got a 2016 Kia Sorento. It's got the big block 3.3 liter V6 in it, and the customer states that the oil pressure light will intermittently come on. They took it to the local Kia dealership, and they were told that the oil pressure sending unit was bad and that it was also leaking. So that's what we're going to be getting into today. Let's get to it. We'll go ahead and get started by taking this engine cover off. It just pops right up. So we've got a fair bit of vacuum lines and just general electric connectors all over the place. Our oil pressure sending unit lives down underneath the intake between the high pressure fuel system. So I'm not going to walk you through every single step of this, but basically we're trying to get all the connectors and vacuum lines off of this intake that we can. So let's get to that. So there are a couple coolant lines that run to our throttle body. I'm going to just take the throttle body off. It's 410 millimeters. Whoop. There is one more vacuum line that appears to be a part of the PCV system, kind of hidden back here in the back. All right, so before I get taking this intake off of it, I want to try to get as much of this dust off as I can. I got a rag shoved in the throttle body, and I'm just going to take some air and try to blow some of this stuff off. All right, now we'll get working on taking the intake off. There are 8 bolts in this upper intake. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So on the back of the intake, I'm going to try to get you guys back there. There is one 12 millimeter bolt on a bracket back here. I don't know how well I can get you in there, but or sorry, it's actually a 14 millimeter. So you can kind of take that out before you get the intake off. So pretty much just like taking the plenum off, I want to try to get as much of this dust and stuff out of here as I can. So I got the ports blocked off with rags, and I'm going to blow this out. but I took the 210s off, and I was able just to get the fuel line out of the way. So now we'll get working on the lower intake. It is held on by 8 6mm Allens. All right, so we can see it. It's down right there. Looks like both of the direct injector rails are going to have to come off. So we'll go ahead and start. We're going to have to take these lines off. You need to replace these lines at the same time. There's two lines. Well, there's one that comes off the pump, and then it splits right here. There's a union, and then down below that is a 10mm that looks like an absolute bear to get to. So we'll work on that, but we'll go ahead and start getting our bleeding our pressure off. So I've always found if you just crack them and just slowly let the fuel pressure out of it, I've never had an issue doing it like this. So after some light surgery, I was able to get this bolt out over here on the side. And now we'll see if we can't finesse this thing out of here somehow. All right, with that out of the way, we can work on getting our injector rails out. Each of the rails has their own independent harness, so we'll work on getting those apart. Fuel rails are 12mm, and it would appear that the side with the pressure sensor has to come off first. Now, hopefully, the injectors stay in the rail when we go to take this up. I don't know. I realized right after I got those injectors off, I need to be safe, not sorry. So I went ahead and put the rags in the intakes. So there's our culprit right there. Looks like they are correct. There is oil down in this valley. And when you push on this, I can see oil starting to come up right there. So hopefully this thing doesn't have a locking tab on it. I can't really see, but I'm going to try to get it off. All right, so I'll just kind of walk you through how I got this on because I'm not undoing it because this took a long time. 24 deep socket is on the sending unit. That's a 1/2 inch drive socket. I've got a 1/2 to 3/8 adapter, a 3/8 swivel, and a 6-inch extension. So the way I had to do it was I put the 1/2 inch socket by itself down in there and got it on. And then I put the adapter, the swivel, and the extension all together, came in from behind, took a magnet, stuck it on here, and kind of fed it into the socket to be able to get onto it. Believe it or not, this is what the TSB says to do. I mean, not necessarily with the adapter, but it tells you to use a universal joint and extension to get in there. If you had a thin 3/8 24, that would work, but a deep 24 impact doesn't work. A shallow chrome doesn't work. It's got too much stuff sticking out of the sensor. But anyway, we got this on. Let me go ahead and take it out. All right, so with the sensor out, I got the harness pulled up out of here. I want to blow all this oil out of here, and I want to suck as much of the oil out of there as I can and try to clean that valley up, just so in the future, if they somehow knew it was leaking oil, I don't know if they used a mirror or a camera or something, but I want to try to get that stuff out just to make things kind of neat and tidy. All right, so we got our valley cleaned out as good as I'm willing to do it. Now it's time to put our new sensor in, and what I'm going to do is basically try to do the reverse order of what we did taking it out. So I'm going to try to get this thing started by hand. All right, so going back in with it, I don't want to do this again, so I'm going to torque it. Torque spec says between 11 and 16, so I got my torque wrench set at 13 foot-pounds. All right, that was it. So now, take this back apart. One piece at a time, just like Johnny Cash. Oh, maybe not. Yay. I did, in order to get this thing back together, I wasn't able to use the full size. I ended up cutting almost an inch off of this. I don't know if Kia has a special socket for this or not, but we do now. So, all right. So we got new O-rings on our direct injectors, and so we're ready to get those back in. So let's get this pipe back in. All right, we're ready to go on with our intake. So we got an aftermarket intake gasket set. One thing to keep in mind is that this one right here, I noticed whenever I was over there messing around, I was hitting the upper radiator hose, and I saw coolant coming out right there. This gasket did not come with our gasket kit, so I am going to have to run to Kia, grab one, and then we'll put this intake back on. All right, we're back from Kia. We got our new gasket. I don't even know what the point of that thing is. It just deadheads off into this manifold. So I don't know why it's there, but it is what it is. The reason I had to do that 3 times is that foam under there kind of interferes with those high pressure lines. So I had to kind of reach back there and get it to fold around. But it's in there now. All right, so we got our lower intake on. Just FYI, this customer also had a PO138 check engine light. The Kia dealership diagnosed that as a faulty oxygen sensor. I've already put it in, but it's this the back upstream. It's right here, so 22 mil socket or O2 sensor wrench. Get that out. One clip here. Your connector there, but I got it installed. Now we'll go ahead and get working on our upper intake. So let me get the gasket and grab that. All right, got our new intake gasket or plenum gasket installed. Now we'll try to get this thing put back in place. Oh, forgot something. Well, me and this thing are just gonna have it out here. Whew! I don't know at what point that came off, but I probably spent almost as much time trying to get that bracket back on as I spent for the rest of the car. All right, so while this is still loose, I'm gonna stick my big old fat head right in front of the camera, and I'm gonna stick this 14 back in the back of the intake. All right, we're in the home stretch now. I got a new throttle body O-ring or gasket on it. Get our throttle body back on. And then it's just a matter of hooking up all the vacuum lines and stuff. And then we should be good. If you get that tube back in with that air filter box on, you're far better tech than I am. I ended up having to pull this box off, but in order to get that off, you have to pull the battery off. So I'll just show you the process of putting it back on. All right. Well, let's go crank it up and see what happens. Well, all right, guys, that's going to wrap this one up for today. So parts and labor breakdown on it was we were at about 270 in parts, and that is the oil pressure switch, the upper and lower intakes, plus that one random coolant one, plus the throttle body gasket. Did we do anything else? I think that was it. Oh, the big one of those was that that fuel delivery pipe. That thing was like $150, and then all the injector O-rings. Labor only calls for 3 hours, so it realistically wouldn't have taken that long if I had the perfect size socket. That would have been a lot easier going back together with everything. Basically, it took me going and buying a chrome deep 24, and then I ended up cutting roughly an inch off of it and then having to piece together a bunch of extensions and swivels in order to be able to fish that thing down there to get it out. So final thoughts on it is, I'm sure with the magic of editing, we probably made this look fairly easy. The reality is that if you're a novice or just kind of like a general handyman type of thing, I would probably consider farming this one out. Reason being is not because it's particularly hard, but when you're dealing with the high pressure fuel system, pretty much everybody that I have worked with, the first time that they mess with direct injected injectors, like the O-ring stacks on them, because they're really weird. They usually got little spacers and different various type O-rings in the actual rail part, and then they usually have some type of crush washer and like a nylon washer on the bottom of them, and you have to expand and shrink those nylon washers or O-rings to get them back in place. Most people that I've worked with, the first one that they do, they got a fuel leak. Whether it's a massive leak that you find immediately or whether the car comes back 3 days later smelling like fuel and you see one of those direct injectors leaking. And so that's just a big pain in the butt to have to do again if it's something that you're not familiar with. It's worth noting that Kia has extended the warranty on these switches. Standard Kia warranty is 10 years, 100,000 miles. The enhancement is for 15 years, 150,000 miles. This car's got just shy of 170 on it, so it didn't meet the cutoff on it. That's why we're doing it. So anyway, guys, that's going to wrap this one up for today. Hopefully we earned a thumbs up from you. Let us know what you think down in the comment section. We have new content for you every single week, so consider subscribing to the channel. And with all that being said, thanks so much for watching. We'll see you on the next one. I'll pick you up at 8. You probably won't be awake. Call yourself an Uber, babe. I'm gonna wait. I'm gonna wait. I and we together don't have a ton of Hyundai Kia experience, and it's because, well, frankly, they're all getting fixed under warranty or they're blown up, not worth anything.